was lonely, I was out of friends. Dead ends, dead ends. Couldn't bring myself to pretend, but in my darkest night, a breakthrough. Heard you call my name, and now I'm facing you. Something falls from the sky, suddenly I'm awake. I'm alive, I'm aware, there's a chance I gotta take. Something falls from the sky as it cuts through the night. Power lifts me higher, gonna be dancing in the light. Scared to dream about the person I could be. Without the chains surrounding me, now you've shown me what lies behind the door, the door. See me crying out for more, 'cause in my darkest night, a breakthrough. Heard you call my name, and now I'm facing you. Something falls from the sky, suddenly I'm awake. I'm alive, I'm aware, there's a chance I gotta take. Something falls from the sky as it cuts through the night. Power lifts me higher, gonna be dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. They don't believe, they say I'm out my mind. 'Cause I got something they're all out to find. I was down on everything, was wrong, so wrong. Turn to see your face, and now I am reborn. Something falls from the sky, suddenly I'm awake. I'm alive, I'm aware, there's a chance I gotta take. Something falls from the sky as it cuts through the night. Power lifts me higher, gonna be dancing in the light. Something falls from the sky, suddenly I'm awake. I'm alive, I'm aware, there's a chance I gotta take. Something falls from the sky as it cuts through the night. Power lifts me higher, gonna be dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light. Dancing in the light.
Well, good afternoon. We've made it to Friday lunchtime. This is Colin Kelly along with Emma Baker. We're here for the smartphone video show. Emma, it's episode 3.
Excellent. Oh, we're making good progress. I'm enjoying it so far. Really had a great time doing it these last 2 weeks.
And the kids are back in school.
Yeah, that's great news. That's made a huge difference. It's only now that they've left the house that you kind of realise how much pressure was on us, I think, and everyone who was homeschooling, just no space, no time, no peace at all to do anything else.
Yeah, we hope everything's all right with you wherever you're watching. We're live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Amazon Twitch, and we will eventually be on LinkedIn. There's an approval process to be able to live stream on LinkedIn, and we're going through it just now. And Emma, the criteria for being allowed to live stream on LinkedIn is first, before they let you, you have to show a commitment to uploading regular quality video content. So that's what I'm trying to do during the week just now, is I'm uploading video clips, and it's like getting a scout badge or something. You have to show a commitment to quality video.
Well, I think we're doing that, and people have been really enjoying the clips. Quite a lot of interaction with them on LinkedIn. Just really nice that to take the show, which is 30-40 minutes, and just pick out a few highlights from it, and certainly people that I've been sharing it with on LinkedIn have been enjoying and interacting with it.
Yeah, huge thanks to you if you've been watching and commenting and sharing. And really the main reason that we're here is to answer any of your smartphone video or even general business or digitally related questions. If there's anything we can help you with, put them through the live chat. And we know that many of you watch on demand or on replay, so we'll stay on top of that as well, and we'll answer any of your questions on a future show. Emma, the big business news this week, and I don't know, are you going to miss this shop? Thornton's are closing their shops. They're still doing the website, and they're still making chocolate and sweets for other stores, but the shops themselves will go. But we hadn't shopped in there for a long time.
Not for a long time. It's a kind of nostalgic shop for me. It reminds me of being probably a teenager or something. When you first got to go up to town yourself, maybe. It's a bit like Millie's Cookies in that sense, if folk remember going there, and you got to go and get a big chocolate chip cookie at Millie's at St Enoch Centre. Anyway, that's what me and my friends did. And Thornton's was a bit like that. You know, if it was a friend's birthday, maybe this was just girls, I don't know, you could buy a cookie or a cake or something that was personalised, and that seemed quite revolutionary in the early 90s, but it's not such a big deal these days.
And part of their business model was they would have a concession or a very small store, often in railway stations. And if we were getting on the train when I was a kid, my mum would sometimes say, right, you can either have a chocolate pig or a chocolate mouse. And it was full of fondant. And I started off on the mouse because I thought the pig was a bit girly because it was pink. And then I thought, actually, that's more tasty. So I was a chocolate pig person then until
I don't remember
quite
the
recently.
chocolate pigs or chocolate mice. No.
Oh, they were great.
No, it's the toffee and the fudge. That was it was really luxurious, wasn't it? But I think it lost that status. So what you were saying, it's like what your granny bought you for something special, and I don't think it had that status anymore.
The other business news this week is that Netflix are cracking down on password sharing, which lots of extended families do, and I know they've been doing it through the lockdown. I think if you break the rules, you're going to get a warning, first of all, that you'll need your own account to keep watching. But we'll not say anything else, and I don't want to say whether we're affected by this in any way, just in case Netflix are watching, but obviously it's important to comply with the rules. Emma, let's get into some smartphone video chat. Now, later on in the programme, we'll answer some of your questions, and I'm going to attempt at the end today to explain NFTs. This is something that the whole internet is abuzz with this week. Everybody in digital is talking about non-fungible tokens. And until about 2 hours ago, I had no idea what these things were, and I thought, everybody's talking about it, I should know. So I have tried to find out, and I'm going to try and explain it, because I think, well, you're a former teacher, so you'll agree with me on this, Emma. The test on whether you understand something is, could you explain it to somebody else?
Yes,
right. Okay.
Absolutely. That's Bloom's taxonomy, I believe.
Okay. So I'm going to, having educated myself this morning about non-fungible tokens, how they work, why they're important, and I think they are important, and I think some of our viewers, so we have friends who are artists and musicians and digital creators, so they need to know about non-fungible tokens, and before 1:30 I'm going to try and explain it.
Okay. Can I just confirm fungible?
Fungible.
Fungible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, careful how you say that.
Let's get on with some smartphone video chat, Emma. And one of the questions that I picked up on during the week there was, what difference does a gimbal make, and is it worth getting one? And if it is, what one should I get?
Oh, that's a few questions. So a gimbal is a device for stabilising your camera. And it's, rather than just putting your camera either handheld, which if you're going to try and move around, handheld's going to get a bit shaky for you. Or if you just put it on a selfie stick or a tripod and then move around, it will still have shake on it. The gimbal smooths all that out for you. So it's a motorised device, and it's on a 3-axis, so it stabilises it horizontally and vertically. So it's really good for action sports, things like that, for following people around, for getting that kind of point of view.
And I think that's the question. Is it only for action sports, or if you're if your business is, you have a furniture showroom and you're walking around that furniture showroom, should you be doing that with a gimbal?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the style of video you want to make, and I think it's got a few applications. I often say to people in training that don't get a gimbal as your first port of call, because I think initially, potentially it's a real barrier if you want to make good videos. I kind of teach people about shooting interesting visuals, just not entirely handheld, but just with a little phone holder, and kind of holding the camera still and letting the action that's unfolding tell the story, and then editing it together in a nice way. But the example that you've said there of a showroom, or I remember when we bought our car, they did that guided tour of the car because I couldn't come to see it. That if you're going to do that kind of more laid back, casual, not a tight edit, you're just going to walk around the showroom and do a bit of the sales patter, I think a gimbal could be a really good investment for you.
So it's not a magic wand. The gimbal itself isn't going to suddenly make all your videos amazing. You still need to plan it. You still need to think it all through. but there are certain situations where there's maybe a lot of movement in the video, or you're showing people round things. It's another valuable part of the toolkit that's going to then enhance the video.
Yeah. I think that the first thing you said is absolutely right, and that's why I tend to say, don't go out and buy a gimbal straight away. Learn how to make a good video without a gimbal first of all, and then upgrade and buy a gimbal maybe further down the line. So when you kind of know, when you've got some ideas now how to apply it, because I think the kind of danger with a gimbal is you think I can move around and it looks really cool, and you end up just walking around a showroom, which isn't an interesting video. You know, having lots of different shots and angles and close-ups is interesting, not just watching the real-time tour of a showroom. That's not necessarily an interesting video.
So if somebody's beyond that stage, if they're doing videos and they're thinking, right, you know, they've done these kind of guided tour type videos and they think, well, actually a gimbal would enhance this, are you able to recommend one to start with?
Well, the one that I've used, and is probably one of the most popular ones, is the DJI Osmo range. So I think they're on Osmo 4 now. I've got the Osmo 3. Everything is around the £100 mark nowadays, and I think DJI is hovering around that. The Osmo 4, which I don't have, it came out very recent, you know, just after I got the number 3, and I had kind of envy of it already. What's nice about that is the way that you attach it to your phone. If I show you just my Osmo 3 here, when I attach it to my phone, it's got this clip. So I have to kind of pull the clip out. It can be a little bit awkward to kind of get it in place. The Osmo 4, this bit's a magnet. So you clip it onto your phone over here, separate to your gimbal, and then it just uses a magnet to clip it on there.
Good sound effect, I like that.
I like that sound effect. Yeah. So in terms of, you know, I think one of the issues with gimbals is they can be a barrier to just creating really fast, quick video.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got this little magnet on the back of your phone all the time and you can just slot it into your gimbal, then that's a really nice way to kind of.
And what do they run on batteries? Do you need to charge the gimbal up?
Yeah, you need to charge the gimbal up. The charge on this one's quite low at the moment. It's just a little USB charger that comes with it. And you can see here, I've got it in portrait mode, but you can see here, I think it's quite good for that kind of video. You don't need much training to just, you know, maybe go for a walk and share a bit of business expertise in selfie mode. If you're doing that handheld, you're going to see all that camera shake and all that camera movement. If you're on a gimbal, then it's going to be nice and smooth. Okay,
and now I'm sure I've seen some where, like that one, you've put your phone in it, but I'm sure I've seen some where the gimbal actually contains. It's almost like a gimbal with a GoPro built into the middle of it. The camera's actually in the thing. Is that somehow better? Would that be what you would recommend?
Again, it depends. I think those ones, again, that's a DJI one. There's a few, but
it's the Osmo, is it?
This is the Osmo for the phone, and then there's the Osmo, which is, as you described, it's got a tiny little action camera as part of it, and it's the whole device is about that size, so you really can store it in your pocket. And then bring it out whenever you want. And so I think for a lot of people, a barrier to doing this, I mean, while I say go for a walk and dish out some business advice, most of us are going to feel a bit stupid doing that, walking along, whereas that little DJI device would let you do it quite inconspicuously.
It's a bit more discreet.
Yeah,
you can take it into places and things like that. And okay, great. Well, that's really helpful. Thank you for demystifying the world of gimbals. And one of the reasons that was on my mind, and I just tweeted this before we came on air today, is that there's a really interesting report that's just come out from Retail Gazette. And it's all about video commerce, and it's looking at, well, the last few years, but also in particular the last, since COVID and the lockdown, and the way that lots of retailers started adapting and started using video for live one-on-one interaction with potential customers. So, for example, Emma, I think during last year, during the lockdown or part of the lockdown, you went to the sofa shop and you bought a new sofa.
Yeah.
Now that could have, if that had happened in the thick of lockdown, then they might have said to you, well, you can't come in and look at sofas, but tell us what time suits you. We'll put one of our salespeople on a video call and they'll take you round the showroom. And they've done this with cars as well. Some of the car dealers have been doing it. The other place that did it really well was Curry's and PC World. where they'd actually talk you through, like if you're buying a new laser printer or setting up a PC or those kinds of things. So this report's come out today by Retail Gazette. I just tweeted it. It's an excellent, about 20-page PDF report. It's well worth a read, and it's looking at where we've gone and where it's going to go next. And they think that what they're calling video commerce is here to stay. You know, if you look at a platform like eBay or Amazon at the moment, there's hardly any video on these platforms. You have to write the listing, you have to write the description. Whereas if you're thinking of buying, I don't know, even like, you know, toys for your kids or something, much better if you can actually see, you know, the seller explaining how all that works. At the moment, you'd probably have to go and put the product name into YouTube and you'd see a video that someone else has made. So I think that video commerce is here to stay, and it will be more and more the way things are bought and sold, whether that's pre-recorded video or increasingly, like some of the big retailers are doing, maybe increasingly live video as well, which is quite exciting.
Yeah, I think the live video can be really effective for that, and people do tend to watch live videos for much longer, and you can get people into that kind of sales environment, like you were saying, the sofa shop, where you're like, I'm here and I'm invested, and by the end of this I want to buy something. I'm not just browsing so much, and you can create a bit of a kind of environment for them to do that, and people will watch longer, and you can offer them deals and all the rest of it. But I think packaged videos are very powerful as well. When you're talking about toys and YouTube, I know a number of friends who say their kids love watching other children unpackage and play with toys, and the pester power then that comes out of that type of video is phenomenal.
I think that's something else that we really recognise when we're working with clients, is that sometimes they shouldn't be in the video. So, you know, if we're trying to sell toys, maybe our kids are better equipped to get that message across than others. Emma's actually running a smartphone video webinar. This is happening on the 22nd of April. If you want to spend a few hours, there's only going to be a maximum of 8 participants on the session. You can get all the ticket details at comsteria.co.uk/events and get your tickets through Eventbrite. That's comsteria.co.uk/events. It's the smartphone video webinar. It's a morning, I think it's a 3-hour session on the 22nd of April. Emma, tell us a wee bit more about what people get if they join you on the Zoom webinar for that session.
Well, basically, we'll run through the full workflow of creating a video using your smartphone. So planning, shooting and editing. And we look at how to plan video content, first of all, which I think is a real stumbling block for people. They want to get into like switching the camera on and filming things, but you need to kind of roll right back to having a really kind of tight and focused plan that's going to connect with your audience before you invest too much time in the production aspect. So we look at that, and then the kind of technicalities about shooting and setting up your phone and lighting, composition, all those things, and then dive into some of the editors with some live demonstrations and the chance to try out the editors yourself and see which one's going to work for you.
And is this a session for complete beginners, or do you need to be a little bit more advanced than that, and do you need equipment to take part?
Complete beginners can come along, and also people with a little bit of experience. I think anyone's going to learn something from the course, because it's quite a comprehensive framework that I'll take you through in terms of what works for me when I've made my videos, and the plans that I stick to and the techniques that I use. But if you're a complete beginner, you'll get something from it. If you've done some video already, I think you'll learn some new techniques.
Yeah, and I think one of the big advantages of any session like this is the opportunity to come on, ask questions in real time, and also get equipment recommendations. And maybe if people have, you know, they've done some shooting or they've done some editing and it's maybe not quite turned out the way that they would like, you'll be able maybe to help them sort of clear that up a little bit and steer them back in the right direction.
Yeah, I would think so. Just, you know, where are you going, not so much where you're going wrong, but just what's the next step for you that you've kind of worked it out yourself until this point. It's like, well, now maybe apply a bit more of a tight structured framework and make a bit more progress with your videos.
So this is all happening on the 22nd of April. It's Emma Baker's smartphone video webinar. Maximum of 8 participants, a nice small group to work with. You get all the ticket details at comsteria.co.uk/events. And if you already know your stuff, then like it and share it and pass it on to somebody else. Emma, let's go on and talk about Canva. Canva's this tool. It started off as, I guess, almost like kind of like Photoshop, photo editing, graphic design, that kind of thing. But they've actually got some video elements in it now as well. And I thought what we'd do today, or you thought what we could do, is you could run through a sort of Canva demo and tell us a wee bit about what Canva can do with video. And we can actually bring up a live feed from your phone as you take us through this.
Yep, so this is Canva. This is our account. That's why it says welcome, Colin. So we paid for this, but you can just download the app for free and start with the free version, or you can just access it on your browser, which actually I use it a lot on the browser. It's quite a nice interface, but it's also really handy that you can do it all from your phone if you want. So I would describe it probably as a drag and drop graphic design tool. So yes, there's Photoshop and there's Illustrator, there's all those Adobe apps, but they can seem quite daunting and quite advanced for a beginner. Whereas you come into Canva and you see straight away, I want to promote my business on Instagram. Oh, look, I've just got lots of templates here for Instagram posts. And, it's International Women's Day or something like that. Well, there's a wee idea just to kind of get me started. And you can get started with these templates, but then you can customize the templates as you go along. So, you might start with this as your basic idea for Happy Mother's Day, but you can change the colours to suit your brand or to suit your message. And there's a whole library of stock photos, stock video, and so on. I'll show you much more, but if we maybe look, I suppose I was talking about brand colours there. If we look down at the bottom, I'll go back to home. So the home page just shows you all these templates, which you could select from. Or you could just go and choose kind of blank templates at the top. Over here on the right-hand side down at the bottom, we've got a menu, which is worth kind of exploring before you start, probably. One of my favourite parts of it, one of my favourite features is this brand kit, which is about three slots down there on the menu. If I just tap on that brand kit. And I would start here, you can basically upload all your logos. So we've got all the Comsteria logos, different colours, transparent ones, JPEG ones, so that if I'm creating a design, whether it's a video or a social media post, they're all accessible to me in Canva, and I don't have to go rooting around in my hard drive. And then if I want to change a background so that it suits our colours, I've got all our colours kind of preloaded and our fonts preloaded. And
one of the big advantages of this, I guess, is that it's available, anywhere that you can, or I can, or anyone with a password can log into the internet, can access all that material. So at the moment, we're not out and about all that much, but there might be things that, you've got on your hard drive and you're off doing something else. And I think I really need that logo because I want to update the Twitter header or something. And I know it's on your hard drive on your computer, or maybe it's even on the network drive somewhere, but it's probably just going to be quicker because I don't know what you might have called it. I can just log into canva.com with our password and very quickly find it.
Yeah. You would think you could do that, but you often don't. You often still just send me that email or shout down the stairs, can you get that for me? But yeah, in an ideal world, that's what it's good for. It's that whole kind of cloud storage, everything synced together, and your whole team, you can pay for a team subscription as well, so you can have multiple logins, and really, it's your one-stop shop for all your branding, all your social media activity. And video as well, which we can look at. And
quite often these social media platforms, they ask for things in different sizes or different shapes, so it's very easy to sort of repurpose logos and design and content, and then you might want to make like a flyer or a poster, and you can do all that in there as well. And if we've had clients that maybe like life coaches, and they think, right, I want a picture of a mountain with success written across it, and then our logo in the top right. So Canva lets you do all that on the go very, very quickly. But what people might not know, or what's the sort of emerging feature of Canva, is what it can start to do with video. And obviously that's what we're here to talk about. And we've got like all these editing apps and all these different things that you'll show us. But I just would like to know a little bit about what Canva can do with video, how you'd recommend us using it, and then I guess maybe where the limitations are as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll show you a few examples. Maybe a good example of what I think Canva's great for is something like Instagram stories. So those videos that they're not necessarily really planned out. They're not videos that you've gone in and edited and you've got a concrete message for, but you've got some video behind the scenes or something fun from the office, and you want to just get it up there quickly. You could, of course, just do it on Instagram, but if I show you here this first example from Canva, so you could just start with a blank canvas if you like, and I'll show you how you do that in a minute perhaps, but this is one of the templates that I've picked from the many choices that you have there. So it's all the right dimensions, as you said, so that makes it nice and easy. And basically I can edit any part of this. So this is a video in the middle of this. If I press play, you'll see this is just stock image that comes from Canva, stock video. Whatever they're, follow us for more information. So that's a nice short.
What on earth is she actually doing?
I have no idea.
She's posing. Is that somebody? She's posing.
She's posing. She's
right.
beside somebody, and they're chatting. And because it's
Right.
been made into quite a narrow portrait video, you don't see it. But what I can then do is you tap on any particular element of that, so the video, and I can just replace it. So I've tapped on the video. I come down to the plus at the bottom of the screen. And then it brings up all the possibilities of what I can replace that with. I want to replace it with a video. And I could go to stock video again, or I could go to my own video uploads and take a video that I've just shot, that behind the scenes image, and just tap on that, and it drops it right in. I hope it drops it into that spot. I think it has it there. I have to hover over it, and it should drop it into that spot. And now this is where it's there. There it's worked for me. Okay, so that's a video that I made earlier.
And then you can change. So there's the name of a social media account. You can replace that text where it says "really great site." You can replace that with your own brand name.
It's just it's like editing a PowerPoint. Now you just tap on that word, and then change the font, change the sizing, change the color. Everything's down here for you. I can tap on the background and just get rid of the background if I want it white, or add a different background colour. And the way it works, if I show you quickly, once you kind of get used to it, I'll show you all that. The reason that's on that kind of phone background is something called a frame, which you can access on Canva. And it basically, anything that I drop into that kind of little cloud landscape will format to the shape of that mobile phone. And if we go here, it's in this Elements. Elements is great fun to have a play around with. And we go to frames, and you can see we've got all these different frames here. And I think there's a mobile phone one somewhere, which will pop up there. That's all that was, or there's a computer one. So you could stick your video in the middle of a computer screen or whatever, and you just drop your phone on there.
I noticed there was one in there that you showed us where it looked like a split screen. It looked like there was two elements. So does that mean you could put in two different videos and almost make it look like there's kind of talking to each other or talking at the same time?
Yeah, you could. I've got an example up already. Like here, there's another one that's just, if this was Instagram stories, 3 photographs, and I would just drop my 3 photographs on there, and you can animate it as well so that they'll slide on when they appear on Instagram stories, and I can edit them and make them all black and white, or put the same filter on each one of them. There's loads you can do. But yeah, there's side to side, there's all sorts of different collage effects basically.
Now you're using, I think we pay about £10 a month for the pro version of Canva. So if you're using the free version, and when you think, right, I'm happy with that, I'm ready to output it, does it have like a watermark on it, or some restrictions on the quality or something?
No, the free version, no restrictions on quality, no watermark at all. The only thing is that there's certain features that you can't access. So if I go in to find videos, for example, or stock photos, I get in the paid for version, I've got access to everything.
Right.
In the free version, there's a limit. There's just a few that are available.
Right, so you want the pictures of the microphones or the mountains or whatever. They're good. Some of them are branded up pro, and you have to pay to unlock them.
But the actual quality, and there's also some elements like you can schedule posts and so on, and there's some limits to that if you've just got the free version. But the output that you make on the free version will be exactly the same, and there'll be no watermark.
I meet people all the time, and we talk to them about video, we talk to them about photography, we talk to them about, like, you're going to blog and you need pictures for your blog, and one of the big obstacles is time. I'd love to do this, I know it's important, but I never get the time. Canva is one of these tools that can really help this integrate into your working life, and if you are an established business, I think the thing you need to realize is that this technology now is available to everybody. There are kids in, second and third year at school, and they've got their little jewellery business on the side, and they're creating the content to help sell it using tools like Canva. And the day will come where these people run rings round the established business because you never bothered learning the new technology. This stuff is here, it's accessible, and if you just take a little bit of time to figure it out, it can really give your business an edge.
Absolutely. I mentioned PowerPoint before. I find with Canva, if you know how to use PowerPoint, then you can use Canva. It really, because it is just a drag and drop editor, it makes it so easy for you. And even if you've got no eye for design at all, there's no excuse. You pick a template and then maybe just tweak the colours a bit to suit your brand, drop in a stock photo, decide on your message, put the text on, and you've got a really nice bit of social media content.
Yes, and if you want to see an example of someone that has no design skill at all, that would be me. So tomorrow afternoon, Saturday, I do the social football show, which you can see on my Twitter and my YouTube channel. And the graphic for that, I made myself in Canva in about 10 minutes, and I'm perfectly happy with it. Oh, you got it here, have you? Where is it?
It's on
there it's there, yes. Yeah, that's the old one. I thought that looked a bit 80s.
It doesn't look.
So I replaced the starting soon with a football, and took away some of this. So these were all made with Canva, weren't they? Oh, that's it. That's mine there. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, and this is what you'd done. You'd kind of done a bit of a mashup there.
Yeah. That's my mash. There's my mashup
for the first week of the social media show. And if I can just show you if you've got if you've got a slight eye for design, how you can improve on that. If I come back to the folders. What is it called? Social media branding there.
Right, yeah, that's it.
I've got too many now. There we go, smartphone video show.
Yeah.
So I kind of went in and did a few options. I think I've done some even nicer ones since this one.
Well, and interestingly, Emma, like what you're showing us there. So these are just graphics, but we could turn that into a little animation, make that a little video.
Yeah. So you can.
There's a wee bit of movement in it.
A bit of movement. You can now. This is where I use it a lot on the browser, and I kind of forget how to do some of these things on the phone. But yeah, there should be an animate option. Mm-hmm. I think it's usually when you're maybe out of this. I'll find it in a minute.
Find it for next week.
Yeah, I'll find it for next week. But yeah, it basically like all the elements would slide on or fade on or spin on, and of course the photograph could be a video. So instead of the girl just putting her thumbs up.
That could be a previous show, like me moving, talking a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. And
it's exciting.
Particularly then if you go into, rather than that template was just a thumbnail template, I think. But if you went in and chose a video template for YouTube, for example, you get those kind of options. You know that the kind of end screens for if you click onto that.
These end screens on YouTube.
So there you've got the template for that. You could make it all your colours and then drop on your video clips into those boxes. So
very nice.
Loads of options.
That's great. So canva.com, it's an app for your phone. A lot of it is free. If you want the premium features or the pro features, you can upgrade. It's about £10 a month. For our business, and kind of starting to upscale the look and feel for it, and certainly work for clients, it's real great value for money, Emma, isn't it? And you've got to grips with it, and you're glad you found it.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, I could spend hours on it, but I probably shouldn't.
So canva.com. Emma, we're just about out of time for this week. We hope you've enjoyed the programme. Before we go, I'm going to try and explain non-fungible tokens. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of athlete's foot and kind of fungal disease. Like. Yeah.
Well, it's not fungal disease. It's making some people right now very rich. So here is my brief guide to non-fungible tokens, which the whole internet is abuzz with this week. NFTs, as they call them. So what does it mean? Okay, well, in a simple way, it is a new way to buy and sell digital assets. Okay, so like it's a file. Okay. So let's say, right, Emma, right, we've got a friend we have friends that are artists and musicians. Okay, so at the moment, like, they'll do a painting on a canvas and they'll sell it and they'll sell prints of that painting. But what if that piece of art were done digitally. So what if they made that piece of art on a computer? So like a digital painting or a digital drawing, some sort of digital design that they then decide they want to sell. So what they could do, and I know I've lost you, I can see I've lost you already. I know
You just
I've
said
lost
digital
you.
about four times in a row.
So they've got this piece of digital art, they've got a file that they want to sell.
Got you.
So they can attach that file, that piece of work, which could be anything. It could be music, it could be a digital trading card, it could be a GIF that you've made, it could be a video clip of me falling off my chair, right? They attach
Is that art? No.
Well, that's a whole other discussion. They attach that file, that piece of work, to a non-fungible token, okay, that they can then sell. Now, there are marketplaces, like, now eBay isn't one, but imagine eBay or imagine Amazon, but only selling digital works of art, digital material, videos, music, paintings, right? But all done digitally. And you can buy that. You can buy that with money, and then you now own it, right? You now own it, and that's made possible through a non-fungible token. Now, what's happened this week? The reason this, because that in itself, you think, well, that's not very exciting, right? You've got a little piece of music, got a music clip, and why do you need to attach all that to a non-fungible token?
Why not just money?
Right? Yeah, because let's get to that another time. This is going horribly wrong. This is going horribly wrong. Okay, so the reason it's in the news at the moment,
okay,
is because some of these video clips and digital paintings are selling for huge sums of money.
Okay,
like millions
now
of
you're
pounds.
talking. So
somebody made a little animation and sold it as a non-fungible token. And it went for like $36,000. And then the person that bought that decided that then they would sell it a few days later, and it sold for something like 10 million. So there is a lot of excitement. It's a bubble, and of course the bubble will burst. But what I'm saying here, right, and this is the reason I wanted to bring it up, is if you are say your favorite band, right? Say Radiohead.
Got you.
Right. Now, if they released a new album,
got you,
they're going to put that out on streaming sites, and we know that they're not going to make much money out of that, right? Because Spotify and the streaming revenue is so small, and they can't tour just now. So if they said, look, we've got an outtake from the recording session of that album, we've got a bit where Tom York messed up, right? It's a 10-second video clip. We will attach that to a non-fungible token, and we'll sell that to the highest bidder. That would probably make them a huge amount of money if they were to do it right now. We have a friend that is a painter. Now, she'll do her paintings and she'll sell her paintings in an art gallery, and there's a value that she reckons she can sell that for, and the galleries will sell that for. If she took a piece of work just now, a digital piece of work, attached it to a non-fungible token, and sold it on one of these marketplaces, at the moment, I reckon, just because of the, not novelty value, but because it's an emerging technology, somebody with more money than sense, not to disrespect our friend here, but somebody with a lot of money would look at that and go, well, you know what, she might be really big one day. I will buy that now for £50,000, and it will probably increase in value. And they're probably going to be right, because there's a scarcity around it. That is non-fungible tokens explained. One more for you before we go, and then we're really going to go. I know you don't get it, right? See the games on the Nintendo that the boys played, Pokemon.
Yes.
Right. You know how some of these games have bits where you can pay a little bit of money in the game, and it might give your character like a special hat or a sword or something. Yeah. Right. So our kids use our money. Well, they don't, because we don't let them, but they might, right? And they buy that thing.
Yeah.
So say they want to sell that item to a friend. Well, at the moment they can't, because they haven't actually bought the little sword for Pokemon or whoever it is. That belongs to Nintendo, and the game just licenses them to use it. So it's not really although they've used real money for it, it's not an asset that they can buy and sell with friends. A non-fungible token, and this is coming to games, would enable them to do that. And the final one would be with trading cards. So if you imagine all the football stickers and trading cards that they collect, imagine all of that was digital. So at the moment, there's not really an easy way where they can buy and sell or swap all that with friends. And you can't really have one that's worth more than any of the others. A non-fungible token makes that possible.
Right. Well, I think I kind of get some of it in the exchange of goods, but it's a digital exchange of goods.
Yeah.
And the video game thing, I know one of the boy's friend, he had ended up...
a bit of that, yeah.
Well, no, he'd ended up buying something for £1 on eBay. His mum didn't realise this. And she thought it was an actual physical trading card, but it turned out it was just somebody who owned a hat in a game or a Pokemon in a game, and they had to log on to the Switch at the same time and then make the exchange at the same time. And something, she didn't understand it at all. And but maybe that kind of transaction would be made easier. I have no idea why you would want to do it, but...
Well, So look, I have to say, I'm going to stand by it, Emma. That right there is as good an explanation about non-fungible tokens as you will get right now anywhere in the media.
I can well believe it.
And I challenge others to beat that, to top that. The reason I mentioned it is because we do have friends that can shoot video and make music and make art, and there is money to be made. The problem with it is that generating a non-fungible token uses, believe it or not, uses a huge amount of carbon, and it's very bad for the environment.
What?
So, yeah, I know. It uses,
what is it, though?
It uses the same amount of energy. So creating a non-fungible token uses the same amount of energy as the average EU citizen will burn in a fortnight.
What?
And because a lot of artists are aware of their carbon footprint and they want to be environmentally friendly, they're not keen on doing it, but moves are afoot to actually improve it and make it better.
I don't understand that. Why can something that's digital
because
burn so much carbon?
Well, I don't really understand it either, so let me pop that in. But I think it's because it requires a certain amount of processing power to actually create itself. So you'd need to offset that or find a more efficient way of doing it.
So see the person who paid £1 million for
it was more than that, but
whatever,
yes,
that work of art.
Yeah.
What do they actually physically own now? Not physically, but digitally own.
They own
a JPEG file of a painting.
Well, and the code underneath it.
And what does the code give them?
Well, the code means that they own the original, so they don't own a print of the Mona Lisa. They actually own the work of art, the form itself, the file.
But digitally.
But yeah, because it only exists digitally. Yeah.
And so if somebody creates a work of art in the physical world, an actual painting, and then just had a photo or a scan of it, that wouldn't work. It would have to have been created digitally to begin with.
Yeah, because that's them only working with a copy of it. Now, what you're confusing, I think, what everybody here is confusing, is you're confusing what is a very boring delivery mechanism, right? What is basically a very boring system of two computers talking to each other, which is very boring, and you think, well, why would I want to do that, right? And with the land grab that's going on, and at the moment, non-fungible tokens have a perceived higher value than other bits of art, which won't last forever. But it takes me back to my original point that right now, people with more money than sense have decided that these are things they want to buy. So, and we could have a whole debate here, which was never my intention this morning, about the value of art. But if you're a painter and you decide, like, there's a painting that's £500, and then I buy it, and then the next day I sell it for £5,000, what's it worth now? Well, it's worth £5,000. If somebody's willing to pay £50,000, so maybe it's worth that. And it goes up and up and up and up and up. Now, at some point that will collapse and someone will be left with an asset that's not worth that much. But right now, and this is why they're in the news this week, non-fungible tokens have a perceived high value. Unfortunately, if you want to create one, you're going to have quite an expensive computer. The marketplaces take quite a cut, so it's you can't just like make one up and sell it, and half an hour later you're going to be rich. You probably need a couple of grand to start with, and it helps if you have a fan base as well. So the people that are making money out of this are the people that already have a bit of a fan base and create work that people think, well, you know what, £10,000 for that's worth it, because they're a big name, or they're going to be a big name, and what they realise is a week later, what they spent £10,000 on, somebody else comes along and says, hey, I'll give you 10 times that.
It's a crazy, crazy mixed up world. That's all I say.
We've said a lot more than we intended. I do apologise for that. But we said we'd be done at 1:30, so maybe don't count the last 15 minutes unless you're really, really interested in it.
It's interesting, and I'm going to get my head around it one day. But, well, I mean, even the debate about the value of art is something that kind of blows my mind a bit. You know, who, as you say, who decides on that? It's a lot to do with perception. And then if you put that into the digital sphere and code and processing power and all those things you've spoken about, then
I think eventually though, because if you think about, if you've got like a digital music collection, if you've got all your CDs and things that you've downloaded, that you don't actually own that. You just license all of that from, if you've bought that from the Apple Store in the days, so it's difficult for you to pass that on to anybody else. So I think what non-fungible tokens will do is they'll actually give ownership, and they mean that it becomes a proper asset that can be bought and sold and traded and swapped around the world in ways that up until now we've maybe struggled a little bit with digital stuff.
That makes sense.
That's what I wish I'd said that.
You should have said that. Right? Sometimes it's the process of teaching it that helps you understand it better yourself.
Having heard my explanation, do you think I have a clue?
I think you do. I think you must have quite a decent understanding of it, but it's just getting it out there.
Yeah, getting it out there. That didn't
but
go well.
No, that does make sense, because music's a good example. When we were young, you had tapes, CDs, you could, give that as a gift. It was something of value. It sat on your wall in a big, display, and you used it. And now I look at our children and I think, yes, they could stream any music they ever wanted to in the world, but they don't own any of it. And actually, sometimes they don't even know what to ask for, because there's nothing physically there.
And the other thing is that, when we were students and you'd go round someone else's flat, and what do? You'd look through their music collection and you'd have a chat about that, and that's difficult to do now. The only way to do that is say, give me your phone, and we're not doing that. So I think that's where that's starting to go. And the other thing I think as well is, if you're watching this and you do create something, or you have a bit of a fan base, is what I think the last couple of weeks on the internet has proved is that people have an appetite for unique gifts. So while they'll not spend any more £15 on your new album because they'll just stream it, they would think nothing of spending £15 for a GIF of a limited edition run of GIFs from their favourite band, or an Instagram filter, or maybe some kind of like special emoji or something that's limited edition that they can't get anywhere else, and that they can then sort of show as some sort of badge of honour. Look, I'm a Taylor Swift super fan because I paid for her special unique gift that she only released to 100 people or something.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think, if you look at somebody like, we watch a bit of like somebody like Limmy, right? Now, Limmy can't have a trading card collection, right? But he's got characters and he's got catchphrases, and it would be quite straightforward to digitally design a limited run of Limmy trading cards and then sell them using non-fungible tokens.
Okay.
We're going to have to leave it there.
I hope he takes you up on that suggestion. That would be great to see.
He's probably well down that road already. He'll understand it a lot better than I do. That's it, folks. Thank you very much indeed for watching. We're out of time. What do you think we're going to do next week, Emma? We had a plan.
I think more non-fungible tokens is what I vote for, to be honest. No. I really, really want to grasp it properly and do that live. There's lots to look at. There'd be more to explore in Canva. More editing apps that we can look at, but I don't know, whatever people are interested in.
Yeah, and we at some point definitely we're going to have a look at making a video out of stock footage as well. So sometimes we'll meet a client and they'll say, look, I don't want to be in the video, I've got nothing to say, or how can I explain what I do? There's nothing to show. So that's where stock video can come in, and you've made a few for clients, so we're going to talk about that next week. Yeah, that'd be good. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Remember, Emma's smartphone video webinar, the 22nd of April. You got all the details and tickets at comsteria.co.uk/events. And it's real money for this, not non-fungible tokens or Bitcoin or anything like that. Comsteria.co.uk/events. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.